Hello, everyone, and welcome to our continuation of our renewable energy series. In this video, I will be talking about the wind energy. So, first of all, how do you convert wind energy to electricity? Basically, wind turbines they simply convert the kinetic energy into mechanical energy. This mechanical energy will be used to generate electricity using a generator. There is also other uses to mechanical energy, such as grinding grain or pumping water, which were mainly used long ago. And there are also some usages until today for grinding or pumping power, but now mostly they are just for producing electricity. A wind turbine works the opposite of a fan. So instead of using electricity to make wind, like a fan, wind turbines use wind to make electricity. The wind will turn the blades, which will spin a shaft, basically a low speed shaft. And then it's this shaft is connected to a gear ratio that will spin a higher speed shaft that is connected to the generator, then produces electricity. The wind turns two or three propeller like blades around a rotor. The rotor is connected to the main shaft, which spins a generator to create electricity, as I just mentioned earlier. Wind turbines are mounted on a tower of at least 30 meters high, so there's more advantage of higher wind speed and less turbulence in the wind. So this is a schematic of a wind turbine. How I mentioned, there is the blades. This is the rotor that will spin a low speed shaft, which is connected to a gear ratio that will increase the angular speed of the shaft that is connected to the generator, and therefore increasing the angular speed, which will increase the power output or the electricity output produced by the generator. So, what are the advantages and disadvantages in general? There is no pollution, and there's no pollution produced when you're producing electricity from the wind turbines. And they are mostly the lowest prices for renewable energy sources. Also, solar power is also lower, but they're also from the lowest prices. They do not produce any emissions, like how I mentioned, and also do not produce acidic rain. From its disadvantages is that depending on how strong the wind is, the wind farm may or may not be cost competitive. Wind energy cannot be stored unless batteries are used, which is very unlikely to happen because it's very costly and not that effective. Good wind sites are often located in remote areas and which is far away from cities. Wind resources development may compete with other uses for the land, and those alternative uses may or may be not highly valued than electricity generation. So sometimes there can be a better benefit of that specific land that it's being considered to build wind turbines on them. Sometimes birds they get killed by flying into the rotors. So I'll be talking about offshore and onshore wind turbines. Basically, Jaisalmer wind farm is the second largest offshore wind farm in the world. And I'll be also speaking about the onshore and offshore disadvantages. Onshore is when the wind turbine is basically on land and it's not on water. So from the advantages, it can last for 20 years. It it can pay itself back or like start producing profit from 2 to 3 months after installing it. And it can also pay for the installment, maintaining, and also removing of the wind turbine after 20 years. It has a cheaper foundation than the offshore to be the building foundation, and also a cheaper integration with electrical grid network. So when you're gonna connect it to the electric grid, it's cheaper than if it's offshore. From the disadvantages, wind turbines are noisy, so it can be very annoying if you are living a, a, in a close distance to a wind farm. and also it can be dangerous to birds. Offshore wind turbines, they have also advantages and disadvantages. So the advantage is that an offshore turbine is stronger than an onshore turbine because the wind energy is more constant and stronger when it's on sea. It can last for a longer time than the offshore wind turbine, which is 25 to 30 years, and can produce, as I mentioned, more electricity for about 50% more. When a strong wind blows, it can produce from 3 to 5 megawatts per hour. Higher and more constant wind speed as well is available on the on the offshore wind turbines. The disadvantages, it's way more expensive to build. The foundation is very hard because it's in the water and it's difficult to maintain and access. London Array is the world's largest onshore wind farm. Basically, sorry, I mean offshore wind farm. So the general advantage, wind energy is friendly to the surrounding and environment as no fossil fuels are burnt. Wind turbines require less space than the average power station. When combined with solar electricity, this energy source is great for, for developing countries and also developed countries to provide a steady, reliable supply of electricity. The general disadvantages, the main disadvantage is the unreliability of the wind because wind is not always there. You cannot guarantee that there is always wind and there is always electricity being produced. So we must rely um, on a spare electric supply in case the wind is not there. Wind turbines generally produce a lot of electricity than the average a lot less than the average fossil fuels power station, which means that multiple wind turbines are needed to make an impact. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something useful from this video. Have a nice day.